Gravitas, co-presented by Skoda. Kushaq, choose what really matters.
Tonight I would like to begin with a video. This is China's Kunming city. The pictures are from August this year. On your screen are 15 high-rise buildings. All of them are unfinished apartments. For 8 years, these 15 buildings have just stood here. The developer ran out of money, so the apartments were never really completed. Chinese authorities finally woke up last month. They planted 85,000 bombs, 85,000 bombs, and decided to blow up everything. Onlookers were heard screaming when that happened. These dramatic pictures will now become a common sight in China. More unfinished buildings will be blown up by authorities. Imagine what this does to people who put their life savings in these apartments. Why are Chinese authorities doing this? Because China's property bubble is starting to burst. And why should you worry about this? Because the whole world is going to feel the shockwaves. Almost 2 years back, remember, China exported a pandemic and covered up its mistakes. The world felt the impact. It's still feeling the impact. Now a financial crisis is brewing in China, and the Communist Party is trying to cover that up too. Tonight we'll show you how they're doing it. Almost 10 days back, we told you about Evergrande, the world's most indebted property developer. It owes more than $300 billion to its creditors in China and around the world. But Evergrande does not have the money to pay back these loans. 2 weeks back, creditors began lining up outside the company offices to get their money back. Some even tried to commit suicide. They were desperate. They wanted to get their life savings back. Now their worst fears are coming true. Evergrande has begun missing its payments. Last week, the company failed to make an interest payment on a bond. It was supposed to pay $83.5 million. The deadline was Thursday. It did not happen. Evergrande did not have the money to pay. The company has secured a 30-day grace period to make the payment now. But what happens if it fails to pay back? A default will be declared. And that's very much a possibility. The bondholders do not know if they'll get their payment. Who are these bondholders? Many of them are average Chinese citizens. If Evergrande defaults, they will all lose their life savings. Their wealth is going to be wiped out, and that is just the tip of the iceberg. The fallout of Evergrande's collapse would be far-reaching. The company owes money to more than 171 domestic banks and 121 other financial firms. And they all fear defaults. Evergrande is on the brink of a collapse. If the company declares bankruptcy, it will lead to a collapse of the financial system in China. The future of the Chinese economy is at stake, and this is not an exaggeration. So what is being done about Evergrande? Well, China has largely been silent about the crisis, but behind the scenes, it is resorting to censorship and crackdowns to contain the damage. China used the same tools to hide its mistakes during the pandemic, and now the Communist Party is deploying the same tactics to hide a financial contagion. Local governments are issuing notices. They want Communist Party officials and companies to look out for any protests. Officials have been asked to watch angry citizens like aggrieved home buyers or unpaid contractors, even former staffers of Evergrande who were laid off. Why are these people being tracked? Well, we found the answer to this question in a directive from the Housing Department in Lingshan County. Let me quote from it. This is what it says. Follow the demand to spot them early, diffuse early, control early, and deal with early. The heads of property development firms must personally take in hand the work of dealing with petitions and maintaining stability. Now, Chinese officials fear the protests could get out of hand, so they want local officers to nip them in the bud. In the meantime, Beijing is trying to keep the markets afloat. Last week, China's central bank pumped $71 billion into the financial system. This extra money is supposed to calm the investors, give the message that there is enough money to keep the banking system afloat. This is like using Band-Aid to fix a wound that needs surgery. How long can China prop up the markets? Cash injections help in the short term. They might hide the symptoms of distress for a while, but they will never be able to treat the malaise of Chinese economy. The fact is that there is a real estate bubble in China. It is fueled by debt and kept afloat by money that does not really exist. The Evergrande crisis is just the beginning. The actual crisis is much bigger. As of 2018, 50 million homes, 50 million homes were lying vacant in China. These apartments and houses were built but found no buyers. And China, has many ghost cities, acres of concrete with no takers. According to one assessment, there is enough empty property in China to house more than 90 million people. And I'll put that figure in perspective for you. There are enough empty homes in China to fit in populations of 5 G7 countries. Citizens from France, Germany, Italy, the UK and Canada, they can all fit into the empty apartments of China. So there are millions of homes lying empty. There are no buyers. What do you think will happen to the developers who built these properties? Sooner or later, they will default, just like Evergrande. Investment banking firm UBS has released an assessment. It says there are at least 10 developers in China today who face the risk of defaults. So there could be more Evergrandes in the near future. China's real estate sector is like a house of cards at the moment. The world should brace for its collapse. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.
Gravitas, co-presented by Skoda. Kushak, choose what really matters.